Yeah, I'll start with I'm representing a German NGO here, but on my badge it says Ukraine, and I always, wherever, in whichever function I am, I represent Ukraine too. And what it means to me is this feeling of never doing enough. Mm-hmm. And I'm not on the front now, and it's a decision for today. And I'm sorry about not being there, not defending democracy and freedom with my body. But how I help myself with it? By wearing military shoes. I choose military shoes to go on this stage because it somehow helps me to reconnect with what it is actually about and to be grateful to the people who could also sit here in a nice warm room. But they decided to go on the front and to fight for democracy with their bodies, and maybe also to die for that. And we definitely need to remember about that yes, we are not doing enough, and we have to do more. What it's also about for me, it is going from one country to another to try to somehow reconnect and connect the democratic forces, what you were saying. And I see it as a problem number one, yes, that that the dictators are really good at bonding and are really good at networking. And the Democrats are thinking 10 times before they network with someone. Are you good enough for me? Are you professional enough? Is it comfortable enough for me to cooperate with you? So we need to face this problem, first of all. We are really bad at networking and keeping the connections. And I will name 3 problems, and I will also try to give some solutions to them. The second problem is that disinformation and propaganda target people on the level of information, emotion, and values. And what we were also asked to talk about here was media literacy. And I think that media literacy is only about information. And this is where we are weak. Our weapon is not good enough. We are we see that disinformation is working with people on 3 levels, and we counter it with just one direction. No, we have to go deeper. We have to go to search for something more. And then, wait, I wrote it down, what I wanted to say.
What are your findings and analysis on how disinformation and propaganda from Kremlin affects democracy and human rights? Maybe you can tell us more on Ukraine. How is it coping after more than 1,000 days of full-scale invasion?
It's more than 10 years, yeah? So it's definitely more than 1,000 days of war. It's more than 10 years. And the third problem that I would like to tackle is that the main effect of disinformation is that it's not that the fake news is spread. It's not that people believe in false information. It's that people don't believe in anything. People tend to think, okay, we live in the post-truth society, so there is no need to search for the truth. I just give it up. But still, in the end, they believe someone. So it's like the facts don't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. If Trump says migrants are eating cats and dogs, sure, people somehow know this is not true, but they decide to trust him. Mm-hmm. They decide to go with him. And this is like what we are really losing. We are losing this trust from the people. People don't want to search for truth. That's why also media literacy is not an answer. Because we can have people who are really good at defining what is fake news and what is not, but they would still go for authoritarian regimes. So what I suggest, for the thing about not only working on the level of information, but also to work with the emotions and values, we need to leave the rooms like that. We need to go on the streets. We need to go to the cafes and bars and to face the people and to speak to them. This is extremely emotional and time-consuming and very uncomfortable, but I don't see any other way than to do that. We, as CRISP, the German NGO, do it in Eastern Germany. So I let people who are brainwashed by Russia throw their narratives on me. And it's no pleasure, but I can then somehow bring them to some empathy. I can try to change their perspective. I can search for the emotion and for some value that connects us. Because they are in their echo chamber. It doesn't matter how good my reels are, how great my articles or books are. I also brought my book. We analyzed narratives that are most widely spread in Germany, like the anti-Ukrainian myths that are mostly widely spread in Germany. Nice tool, yes, if you want to prepare teachers to work to fight against disinformation. Good, but it's not for those who are not with us. If you want to mobilize people who are not with you, you need to go on the level of emotions and of the values with them. And there was a nice research done by Peter Pomerantsev on how to work with this connection. So he's saying you should not fight against disinformation. You should try to destroy the bond between the leader and the followers. Mm-hmm. So this is also something like, okay, if they are saying that it's all about security for them, and this is why they do not support Ukraine, be it in Germany or anywhere, then I go to this feeling and need for security, mm-hmm. and I connect to that, and I say, I also want security. Believe me, I also want peace, and I want to keep this word for myself too, because what we have, meanwhile, that when you say peace, then you mean kind of like giving Ukraine up, or giving the democracies up. If you mean neutrality, this is also like, this is about cooperation with Russia. I just came from Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. These countries are saying they are neutral, and I get it that in the position that they are in, economically and geographically, it is a great courage to say that they are neutral. It actually means being anti-Russian. It actually means being pro-Ukrainian. And I see it as my task to value that, to say, okay, you are neutral, let's go with that. This is what works for you now. Let's build something up on that. So this is about the street dialogue and the dialogue on the everyday places. And we have a project with not such a bad financing. And unfortunately, we don't find enough people who are not just fans of democracy, but are fans enough to go out of the seminar rooms, because we are too comfortable for that. And this is like my task somehow, and I hope that you will also join me on this that mission to like mobilize people for democracy. Another one, this like post-truth society. I think what helps here is like non-formal education, the old methods, you know, the critical thinking, fostering. What we do here was developing educational materials together with the teachers from Moldova, Georgia, and Ukraine. We based the method on dilemma-based learning. So we say if we have students in the classroom who are already reproducing this information, then we need to bring them back to taking the decisions. Okay, so we put a very complicated moral question, and the moral questions are things like where everyone takes a decision right away. So we motivate them to take decisions there, and then to bring it more into, okay, so what about consuming news? How do you take decision there? You cannot always stay just like kind of balanced out and not be anywhere. You need to take some decisions, and you need to base them on morality. And then the third thing about this the alliances, so it's not just enough to be connected. It should be really like connection on the eye level. I think that it is somehow interesting that today we've been speaking, so it's the third panel for now, and I think we talked more about Germany than about North Macedonia. And this is connected to our like somehow imperialistic connection of the knowledge. Who are the experts? Who are bringing the expertise to the room? And I have to admit, Germany is really bad at countering disinformation. I think that North Macedonia is way better in it, that we see such a resilience here that we should learn from this, and we should hear why is the North Macedonian society so resilient, and take this knowledge to Germany and destruct this like monopoly of expertise. And then also what I see a lot in Central Asia, countries there also don't learn from each other. They always need an American to come and teach them, or anyone else who is like seen as an expert by everyone, and then they would still criticize. Yes, but it doesn't work for us. You didn't localize your knowledge, but it doesn't lead to next time invite more local the experts, or also like invite experts from some unpopular countries, and just to see, okay, what out of there can we take. So this like demonopolizing the expertise and professionalization. What we see, autocracies invest huge amounts of money in disinformation. They are, but because they take the decisions as one person decided to destruct social cohesion in the democratic countries is their priority number one, so they pull all of the resources together and invest it there. We don't have that. We take the decisions together. So we need to be better at countering. And here I see, for example, how new methods are being used by the autocracies and how they are being neglected by the democracies. TikTok, AI. We say, oh no, that's too tricky for me, I don't deal with that. But I think that AI is a great tool. It has the potential to help us fight disinformation. Why don't we yet have in every country chatbots on checking the Russian disinformation and offering the narratives to counter them? It's not such a complicated thing to create. But instead we see that the AI is being used for deepfakes, etc. Same about TikTok. The right-wing parties are like so present there, and we are saying, yeah, but it's not very ethical, and we don't want to go there, and probably it will die anyway soon as the other platforms. We're not fast enough, we're not professional enough, we are not networked enough.
Thank you. Impressive. Well, as soon as I'm familiar, at the level of the EU, there are even some tendencies, regulation on to regulate all this media. And how do you find whether this will be useful or will go in line with the problem that you already mentioned, the regulation of the media assets and platforms that are using for spreading propaganda, also data, using the data?
Well, we see that the X has decreased its regulations, yeah, but I also heard about one interesting effect of that so what we had before, we had Twitter more for the democratic debate. Then we had several parallel platforms for the people who are spreading conspiracy theories and so they took over the people from Twitter to their other platforms. And now, by not having those regulations on X anymore, people are coming back to X. So maybe it might also have some kind of a positive effect. At least we are in the same room again, or like in the same digital room. We have more access to them again. Just as like one hint of light there, maybe we should also use that, because like if we only go with analysis of what is happening to us, then yes, the world is not becoming easier and more welcoming to us, but we need to work with what we have.